The alarm screamed through every deck of the Kryn warship. Commander Velthar gripped the edge of his command station and stared at the tactical display. 300 red markers filled the screen. 300 enemy ships. His fleet had 80 vessels. The math was simple and brutal. All ships defensive formation beta, Velthar ordered. His voice stayed calm even though his hearts were racing. 20 years of military service taught him that panic killed faster than weapons. Get those civilians off the station. Now. The Helios trade station hung in space behind them, a massive structure that housed 2 million beings. Traders, families, workers, students, all of them were trapped. The Vrex fleet was closing fast. They wanted the station. They wanted to control this sector. And they were willing to kill everyone to get it. Commander, the evacuation ships are launching, his tactical officer reported. But we need more time. At least 2 hours. Velthar looked at the advancing enemy. 2 hours. They would be lucky to last 20 minutes. The Vrex had been expanding their territory for 5 years. Every species they met had 2 choices. Surrender or die. The Kryn chose to fight. Now they were paying the price. Reinforcements? Velthar asked. 4 hours away. Minimum. The tactical officer's voice was flat. 4 hours. They needed 2. And they had maybe 20 minutes. Velthar had fought in 30 major battles. He knew the difference between a hard fight and a suicide mission. This was suicide, but running meant abandoning 2 million civilians. That was not an option. Sir, incoming message from the human vessel, the communications officer said. Velthar almost forgot about the humans. A small Earth diplomatic ship had been docked at the station for 3 weeks. The humans were new to the galaxy, weak. Their ships were slow. Their weapons were outdated. Most species barely noticed them. Put them through, Velthar said. A human face appeared on the screen. Young, pale skin, dark hair. She looked calm. Too calm for someone about to die. Commander Velthar, this is the Earth vessel Meridian. We are offering you transportation off the station. Our ship is small, but we can take a few passengers. Velthar felt a strange mix of sadness and respect. The human ship could barely outrun a cargo hauler. If they stayed, they would die. But they were offering help anyway. Thank you, Meridian. But we are staying. This is our station. Our people, the human nodded. Understood, Commander. Then we will stay as well. To document your defense, so the galaxy remembers what the Kryn did here. The screen went dark. Velthar felt his throat tighten. Even the humans knew this was a death sentence. And they chose to witness it, to record it. Maybe that was all anyone could do now. Vrex fleet entering weapons range in 90 seconds, Tactical announced. Velthar took a deep breath. All ships. Power weapons. Target their command vessels. Make every shot count. His crew worked in silence, professional, efficient. They knew the odds. They knew they were dead. But they would die fighting. 60 seconds. The Vrex fleet spread into attack formation, a wall of death 300 ships wide. Velthar could see the charging glow of their weapons. Soon the space around the station would fill with fire and metal and dying screams. 30 seconds. Velthar opened a fleet-wide channel. For the Kryn, for our families, for everyone who cannot fight. Make them pay for every meter. 10 seconds. Every alarm on the bridge suddenly started screaming. Not weapons alarms, something else. Something worse, gravitational anomaly. The sensor officer shouted. Massive distortion. Right between us and the Vrex. Velthar stared at his screen. Space itself was bending, twisting. A sphere of impossible physics appeared in the void. No jump signature. No hyperspace wake. Nothing that made sense. Just reality breaking apart and folding in on itself. Then something came through. A ship. But calling it a ship felt wrong. It was enormous. Bigger than any vessel Velthar had ever seen. The hull was dark gray, almost black, with edges that seemed to cut into space itself. Weapons covered every surface. Not the standard turrets and missile pods. These were things he did not recognize. Things that looked hungry. Identify that vessel. Velthar barked, scanning. Sir, it's broadcasting Earth identification codes, but this is impossible. Earth doesn't have ships like this. Earth barely has any military ships at all. The communications officer's hands shook as she worked her console. Sir, the human diplomatic vessel is broadcasting. Audio only. Put it through. A man's voice filled the bridge. Deep. Calm. The kind of calm that came from absolute confidence. This is Captain Day One of the United Earth Naval Ship Requiem. We are assuming defensive operations in this sector. Velthar found his voice. Captain, what is that ship? Where did it come from? That is not important right now, Commander. Please maintain your current position. This will be over shortly. The Vrex fleet had stopped. 300 warships hung in space, their weapons still charging but their formation broken. They were confused. Velthar understood. He was confused too. His sensor officer was staring at her displays with wide eyes. Commander, the power readings from that Earthship, they don't make sense. The energy output it's more than our entire fleet combined. More than the Vrex fleet. More than anything I've ever measured. The Vrex sent a transmission. Their commander's voice was full of rage. Unknown Earth vessel. You are interfering in Vrex military operations. Withdraw immediately or be destroyed. Captain Day One's response was quick. This is your only warning. Retreat now. Leave this sector. Or you will not leave at all. The Vrex commander laughed. Actually laughed. One ship. One human ship. You face 300 Vrex warships. You will be vapor in seconds. Silence. Then Captain Day One spoke again. His voice had not changed. Still calm. Still certain. Last warning. The Vrex fleet opened fire. Every weapon from 50 ships in their forward line. Missiles. Energy beams. Kinetic rounds. A wall of destruction screaming toward the lone Earth vessel. Velthar watched frozen. The human ship was about to die. And then the Vrex would turn on his fleet. This changed nothing. But the weapons never hit. Point defense systems activated all over the Requiem. Not the clumsy turrets Velthar knew. These were precise, instant, perfect. Every missile exploded before it got close. Every energy beam scattered against invisible shields. Every kinetic round was intercepted and destroyed. In 3 seconds, the entire Vrex attack vanished into space dust. The Requiem had not moved. Had not even seemed to notice the attack. Then its weapons came online. Velthar heard Captain Day One give one word. Fire. The universe became light and death. The Requiem fired and the void became hell. Velthar had seen battles before. He knew what ship weapons looked like. Energy beams that took seconds to charge. Missiles that flew in predictable paths. Railguns that fired heavy slugs. War was violent, but it followed rules. Physics. Limits. This was not war. This was something else entirely. The Earthship's weapons did not fire one at a time. They fired everything at once. Directed energy beams that moved at light speed. Railgun volleys that created walls of metal. Missile swarms that numbered in the thousands. And other things. Things that bent space. Things that made reality scream. The first Vrex ships died in silence. Their shields, strong enough to withstand conventional weapons, simply vanished. The hulls underneath turned to vapor. One moment there were warships. The next moment there was expanding gas and debris. How many? Velthar whispered. His tactical officer could barely speak. 70 ships. 70 Vrex ships destroyed. In the first volley, 70. In seconds. Velthar's entire fleet could not destroy 70 ships if they had an hour. The Requiem did it in the time it took to breathe. The Vrex fleet scattered. Their formation, so perfect and threatening minutes ago, broke apart. Ships tried to run. Others tried to return fire. It did not matter. The Requiem's point defense systems created a bubble of absolute death around the ship. Nothing got through. Not missiles. Not beams. Not kinetic rounds. Nothing. Second volley, the tactical officer reported. Her voice was empty, shocked. Another 80 ships gone. Velthar watched his screen. The red markers that represented the Vrex fleet were disappearing. Not slowly. Not one at a time. In clusters, in groups. The Requiem's targeting systems locked onto multiple ships simultaneously and erased them from existence. Some Vrex ships tried to run. Their engines pushed to maximum power. They activated emergency jump systems. It did not matter. The Requiem's weapons had range. Incredible range. Ships trying to escape at the edge of the battle zone still exploded. Still died. 90 seconds since first shot, someone said. Velthar did not know who. 212 Vrex ships destroyed. The remaining Vrex ships were screaming on all channels, panic, terror. They were begging for mercy. The species that conquered a dozen systems. The species that gave no mercy to anyone. They were begging. The Requiem gave them the same mercy they had given others. None. Third volley. More red markers vanished. Fourth volley. The tactical display cleared. 300 red markers reduced to nothing. Empty space remained, space filled with debris and radiation and the scattered remains of what used to be warships. 2 minutes, the tactical officer said. 2 minutes and 17 seconds. Total enemy destruction. 0 damage to the Earth vessel. Belthar's bridge was silent. Every officer stared at their screens. At the empty space where an overwhelming enemy fleet used to be. At the single Earth ship sitting in the void like nothing had happened. The Requiem's weapons powered down. The aggressive glow faded. It sat there waiting, as if destroying 300 warships was routine. As if it did this every day. Belthar's hands shook as he reached for the communications panel. He needed answers. His mind could not process what he just witnessed. Earth was weak. Earth was new. Earth had small ships and limited technology. Earth was not supposed to have vessels that could erase entire fleets in minutes. This is Commander Velthar of the Kryn Alliance to the Earth vessel Requiem. Captain Daywan, please respond. The response came immediately. That same calm voice. Commander Velthar, are your people safe? Safe, Velthar almost laughed. They were alive. That was what mattered. Yes, we are safe. Thanks to you. He paused. The questions burned in his mind. Captain, I need to know. What is that ship? Where did it come from? The Requiem is a warship, Commander. One of Earth's defense vessels. Defense vessels? Earth has more ships like this? A pause, small, brief, but there. Yes, Velthar felt cold. How many? That information is classified, Commander. Captain Daywan, please. The galaxy thought Earth had no significant military. Your diplomatic ships are small. Your trade vessels are basic. Your defense stations are minimal. But this... Velthar gestured at his tactical display. At the debris field. This is impossible. Another pause. When Daywan spoke again, his voice was different. Still calm, but colder. Commander, Earth has exactly what we want the galaxy to see. What we showed you was a choice. A choice. Velthar understood immediately. Everything Earth did was deliberate. The small ships. The limited presence. The humble attitude. All of it was a mask. A lie. No, not a lie. A strategy. How long? Velthar asked. How long have you had this capability? The Requiem has been operational for 12 years. Similar vessels have been in service for longer. 12 years. Over a decade. Earth had this power for over a decade and never told anyone. Velthar thought about all the treaties, all the negotiations, all the times Earth backed down from conflicts. Were they weak, or were they just waiting? Why reveal it now? Velthar asked. Because the Kryn are our allies, Daywan said. And we protect our allies. The Rex needed to learn that lesson. Allies, yes. Earth and the Kryn had trade agreements, cultural exchanges, diplomatic relationships. But Velthar never thought it meant this. He never thought it meant Earth would send a warship that could destroy armies. Captain, the galaxy will want answers. Everyone saw this. Our sensors recorded everything. Other species monitor this sector. By tomorrow, every government in known space will know what happened here. Yes, Daywan said. We know. They expected this. They planned for it. This was not just a rescue. It was a message. A declaration. Velthar looked at his crew. They were all listening. All trying to understand. Captain Daywan, Earth just changed everything. You understand that, yes? The balance of power in the galaxy just shifted. Every species will react. Some with fear. Some with anger. Some will want to be your friends. Others will see you as a threat. Commander Velthar. Daywan's voice was steady. Certain. Earth has been ready for that reaction for 40 years. We did not reveal the Requiem on impulse. This moment was planned, calculated. Your people needed help. The time was right. So we acted. 40 years. Velthar felt the weight of that time. 40 years of preparation. Of building. Of waiting. Earth entered the galaxy appearing weak and harmless. But they were never weak. They were patient. What happens now? Velthar asked. Now, Commander, you save your people. Get those evacuation ships secured. Make sure the station is safe. We will remain in the area until Kryn reinforcements arrive. After that, the Requiem will return to Earth space. And then the galaxy adjusts to a new reality. Earth is not a minor species anymore. We never were. We just waited for the right moment to make that clear. The communication ended. Velthar sat in his command chair and stared at the Requiem. The ship that appeared from nowhere. The ship that destroyed 300 warships without taking a single hit. The ship that changed everything. His tactical officer spoke quietly. "Sir, what do we tell High Command?" Velthar took a deep breath. "The truth. Earth is not what we thought. They never were, and now everyone is going to know it." 3 months after Helios Station, the Requiem passed through the outer trade lanes on its way back to Earth. Captain Day Wan stood on the bridge and watched the stars. The same stars he watched for years while pretending to be nothing more than a diplomat in a small, harmless ship. Approaching the asteroid belt, Commander Hajun reported. "Defense grid acknowledging our codes." The asteroid belt looked empty. Dead rocks drifting in the void. But Day Wan knew better. Hidden among those rocks were weapons platforms, sensor arrays, ship docks, the entire infrastructure of Earth's hidden military. Invisible to anyone who did not know exactly where to look. "Take us in," Day Wan ordered. The Requiem glided through the belt. Around them, other ships moved. Warships like theirs, smaller patrol vessels, support craft, a hidden fleet that the galaxy was only now beginning to suspect existed. Hajun moved to stand beside him. "Does it feel strange, being seen now?" Day One considered the question. "Yes and no. We always knew this moment would come. We prepared for it. But living in secrecy for so long becomes comfortable, safe. Revealing ourselves felt like stepping into a spotlight. Do you think we did the right thing?" "We saved millions of lives," Day One said. "The Kryn would have died at Helios Station. The civilians would have died. We stopped that. Yes, we revealed our capabilities, but that was necessary. Eventually, someone would have forced our hand. Better to choose the moment ourselves." Lieutenant Yunbi approached with a data pad. "Sir, message from Earth Command. Admiral Myung-ho wants to see you when we dock." "Understood," Day One said. The Admiral would want a full report. Details of the engagement, analysis of galactic reactions, assessment of future operations now that secrecy was impossible. The Requiem slipped into the hidden dock. Massive doors closed behind them. For the first time in months, they were truly safe. Hidden again in Earth's secret fortress. On the other side of the galaxy, Commander Velthar sat in a conference room with Commander Hajun. Not the Hajun from the Requiem. This was a Kryn military liaison now working directly with Earth Defense Forces. The name was coincidence. Or maybe Earth chose it deliberately. "Your military structure is impressive," Velthar said. "We have been reviewing the information Earth provided. Not complete, of course, but enough to understand the scale." The human Hajun smiled slightly. "Scale is relative, Commander. We built what we needed. Nothing more. Nothing more," Velthar repeated. "Your weapons can destroy fleets. Your stealth technology is beyond anything we have. Your defensive systems are impenetrable. That is not just what you needed. That is superiority." "Superiority in defense," Hajun corrected. "Commander, Earth does not want to conquer anyone. We want to exist without fear. There is a difference." Velthar looked at the human. "I believe you. But you must understand. The rest of the galaxy is afraid. They see your power and wonder what comes next. Will Earth demand territory? Will you expand aggressively? Will you impose your will on others?" "No," Hajun said simply. "Earth's doctrine is clear. We defend what is ours. We protect our allies. We respond to threats. But we do not initiate conquest. We do not seek empire. That is not who we are." "Then what do you want?" "Respect," Hajun said. "Recognition that we have the right to exist on our own terms. The right to defend ourselves without asking permission. The right to make our own choices about our future." "Is that too much to ask?" Velthar thought about that. "No, it is not. But you could have asked for those things openly. You did not need to hide your strength. Commander, be honest. If humanity had arrived 50 years ago weak and new and demanded equal status, demanded the right to build unlimited military power, demanded to be treated as a major civilization, what would have happened?" Velthar knew the answer. The Council would have refused, would have imposed restrictions, would have treated Earth as a protectorate, not a partner. "Exactly," Hajun said. "So we did not ask. We built, we waited. We chose the moment to reveal ourselves. Now the Council cannot impose restrictions. Cannot treat us as children. We have the power to enforce our independence. That was the only path that worked." Velthar sat back. "The Kryn respect strength. We respect warriors who fight for their people. Earth's approach was unusual. Deceptive but effective. And you did save our people. The Kryn do not forget that. We do not want gratitude, Hajun said. We want partnership. Real partnership. Between equals. You have it, Velthar said. The Kryn consider Earth an ally. A true ally. And we will support your position in the Council. Across the galaxy on a neutral station, Ambassador Torvin met with Lieutenant Yunbi. She was not the weapons officer from the Requiem. This was a diplomatic officer. Another coincidence. Or another choice. Torvin looked tired, older than when they last met. You humans like to reuse names, he said. Yunbi smiled. We have many people. Eventually names repeat. Or you do it deliberately. To confuse us. To make us wonder which humans are military and which are civilian. Ambassador, I am a diplomat. That is all. Torvin studied her. Are you? Or are all humans trained for multiple roles? Is every diplomat also a soldier? Every trader also an intelligence officer? We do not know anymore. Earth made sure we cannot tell the difference. Yunbi's smile faded. Ambassador, you seem troubled. What is really bothering you? Torvin sighed. I spent 8 years building relationships between Earth and the Kryn. I believed I understood humanity. Believed I knew your values, your capabilities, your limits. But I was wrong. I knew nothing. You showed me only what you wanted me to see. That is not entirely true, Yunbi said gently. The relationships you built were real. The friendships were genuine. The cultural exchanges were honest. We just did not discuss military matters. That is not unusual, Ambassador. Does the Kryn government share every military secret with its diplomats? No, Torvin admitted. Then why expect Earth to be different? You knew the humans you met. You understood our desire for peace, for trade, for friendship. That was all real. The military capability was separate, classified, not a lie, just private. Torvin was quiet for a moment. What does Earth want, Lieutenant? Truly want? Yunbi met his eyes. We want to exist on our own terms. To never again be in a position where our survival depends on the mercy of others. To have the strength to protect our allies and deter our enemies. Not to conquer. Not to dominate. Just to be secure. Is that so wrong? No, Torvin said. It is not wrong. It is just unsettling. The galaxy must adjust to a new reality, and adjustment takes time. We understand, Yunbi said. We are patient. Back on the Requiem in the hidden dock, Captain Daewon stood before his assembled crew. They gathered in the main hangar. Officers and enlisted, veterans of dozens of secret missions. We accomplished our mission, Daewon said. We protected our allies. We demonstrated Earth's capability. We changed the balance of power in the galaxy. Admiral Myung-ho sends his commendation. He is proud of what we achieved. The crew stood at attention. Silent. Professional. But our work is not finished. Daewon continued. The galaxy knows we exist now. They know we are powerful, but they do not know our full strength. They do not know our complete capabilities, and that uncertainty is our new advantage. We revealed one ship, one demonstration of force, but somewhere in the darkness, 16 more ships like the Requiem wait in silence. Ready. Watching. The galaxy thinks they understand Earth now. They do not. They only know what we chose to show them. That is our strength, not just our weapons, not just our technology. Our strength is patience, preparation, the willingness to wait for the perfect moment. We proved that at Helios Station. We will prove it again if necessary. Daewon looked at each face. Earth came from nowhere, struck with overwhelming force, changed everything, and we did it because it was time, because our allies needed us, because the moment was right. That is who we are. Humans who plan, who wait, who act when action matters most. The galaxy is adjusting to a new reality, a reality where Earth is not a minor species, where humanity has power, where our voice matters. We built that reality through decades of work, through sacrifice, through perfect execution of a strategy most species would consider impossible. Be proud of what we accomplished, but remain vigilant. The galaxy is unpredictable. New threats will emerge. New challenges will come, and when they do, we will be ready. As we have always been ready. The crew stood in silence. Then slowly they began to applaud. Not loudly, not dramatically, just a steady acknowledgement of what they achieved together. Daewon watched them and felt something he had not allowed himself to feel during the decades of secrecy. Pride, Not arrogance. Not triumph. Just quiet pride in what humanity built, in what they accomplished. In what they became, Earth started weak, started vulnerable, started with nothing but determination and a willingness to do what others thought impossible. They hid their strength, waited for the perfect moment, and when that moment came, they struck with precision and overwhelming force. The galaxy would never forget the Requiem. Would never forget the moment a single Earthship destroyed an entire fleet. Would never forget the day humanity stopped being a minor species and became a major power. And somewhere in the darkness, 16 more ships waited, silent, patient, ready for the day they too would be needed. The news spread like fire across the galaxy. Within 6 hours, every major government knew what happened at Helios Station. Within 12 hours, every news network was broadcasting the same images. A single Earth warship. 300 wreck ships destroyed. 2 minutes of total devastation. Strategist Chinral sat in her office deep inside the Kryn military headquarters and watched the footage for the 20th time. She was responsible for threat analysis, for understanding potential enemies, for predicting dangers. She had failed completely. Earth was in her files. A small entry. Minor species. Limited military. Technology level below galactic standard. No threat. That analysis was wrong. Catastrophically wrong. She pulled up every interaction the Kryn had with humanity over the past 50 years. Trade agreements. Technology exchanges. Diplomatic meetings. Cultural programs. Everything looked normal. Friendly. Harmless. But now she looked closer. Now she saw the pattern. 20 years ago, the Kryn offered Earth advanced shield technology. Earth politely declined. They said it was too expensive to implement. Too complex for their infrastructure. But was that true? Or did Earth already have better shields? 15 years ago, a territorial dispute. 3 species wanted mining rights in a system near Earth space. Earth backed down. Let the others fight over it. Everyone thought Earth was too weak to compete. But what if they just did not care? What if they had resources no one knew about? 10 years ago, the Galactic Council offered Earth a defense treaty. Protection in exchange for basing rights. Earth refused, said they preferred neutrality, preferred independence. At the time, it seemed foolish, dangerous. Now it looked like confidence. Chinral felt sick. Every interaction was calculated. Every decision was strategic. Earth spent 50 years watching, learning, studying every species they met, and all that time they were building weapons no one suspected existed. Her door opened. Commander Velthar walked in. He looked tired, old. The battle was 4 days ago, but it aged him years. "You watched the footage," he said. "Not a question." 20 times, Chinral admitted. "And I still cannot believe it." Velthar sat down heavily. "I was there. I saw it happen. And I still cannot believe it." Did Captain Day One explain anything else? No, he was polite, professional, but he gave no details. Just confirmed that the Requiem is not unique. That Earth has other ships like it. Velthar looked at her. "How many do you think?" Chinral pulled up her analysis. "If they revealed one ship, they have more. Much more, my estimate. At least 20 vessels of that class. Possibly 50. Maybe more. 50 ships like the Requiem." Velthar closed his eyes. "That is more firepower than the 3 largest militaries combined." "Yes. And we have no idea what else they have. Smaller ships. Defensive stations. Weapons platforms. Earth could have built an entire military infrastructure while showing us only cargo haulers and research vessels." Velthar was quiet for a long moment. "They lied to us, did they?" Chinral asked. "Did Earth ever actually lie? Or did they just not volunteer information?" "That is the same thing, is it? Think about it, Commander. Did we ever ask Earth about their full military capability? Did we ever request a complete weapons inventory? Did we ever demand access to their shipyards?" Velthar frowned. "No, we just assumed. Based on what we saw." "Exactly. We saw small ships and assumed that was everything. We saw limited trade and assumed they were poor. We saw them avoid conflicts and assumed they were weak. Earth never confirmed those assumptions. They just let us believe what we wanted to believe. That is deception. That is survival," Chinral said. "Earth entered a galaxy full of species stronger than them. Species with thousands of years of history, with advanced technology, with established territories. Earth had nothing. They were new, vulnerable, so they did the smart thing. They appeared harmless while they built strength in secret." Velthar stood and walked to the window. Outside, Kryn warships patrolled the skies. Ships that suddenly felt inadequate, outdated. What do we do now? That is not my decision, Chinral said. But the council is meeting in 2 hours. Earth sent a representative. Ambassador Torvin requested the meeting personally. Torvin, he has been Earth's liaison to the Kryn for 8 years. Do you think he knew? Probably not. Earth would not risk that information leaking. Torvin likely believed the same things we did. Chinral paused. That must be difficult for him, building relationships based on incomplete information. The council chambers were full. Every major species sent representatives. The Kryn, the Thalen, the Mordex, the Quilnar. Even the distant Ashara sent observers. Everyone wanted answers. Ambassador Torvin entered the room and the noise died. He walked to the center platform. He looked calm, but Chinral noticed his hands. They were shaking slightly. Thank you for agreeing to meet, Torvin said. His voice carried through the chamber. I understand you have questions. Earth is prepared to provide answers. A Thalen counselor stood. Ambassador, Earth possesses military technology far beyond what you have shown us. You have hidden this capability for decades. Why? Torvin did not hesitate. Because revealing it earlier would have made Earth a target. When humanity entered the galactic community, we were weak. Truly weak. We had basic ships, limited resources, primitive technology compared to yours. If we had tried to build a military openly, stronger species would have stopped us, some through treaties, some through sanctions, some through force. So you lied, another voice called out. We were cautious, Torvin corrected. We showed you what we wanted you to see. Small trade vessels, research ships, diplomatic craft, all real, all functional, but not our complete capability. How long have you had weapons like the Requiem? The Thalen counselor asked. The first vessels of that class became operational 43 years ago. We have refined the design since then, improved the technology, built more ships. Silence fell over the chamber. 43 years, almost half a century. Earth had these weapons before many species in the room even made first contact with humanity. How many ships? Someone asked. That information is classified, Torvin said. For security reasons. Security. A Mordex representative spat. You speak of security while hiding enough firepower to conquer half the galaxy. Torvin's expression hardened. Earth has no interest in conquest. If we did, we would have acted already. We had 40 years to strike while you believed we were harmless. We did not. We built our strength for defense, for protection, so we would never be vulnerable again. And the Vrex? The Thalen counselor asked quietly. Was that defense? That was alliance, Torvin said. The Kryn are our friends, our partners. They faced annihilation. We had the power to help, so we did. Kinral watched the faces around the room. Fear, anger, confusion, respect, all mixed together. The galaxy was adjusting, recalculating. Every species was asking the same question. What did this mean for them? What does Earth want? The Thalen counselor asked. The question everyone was thinking. Torvin looked around the chamber. Met every eye. Earth wants what we have always wanted. Peace, trade, cooperation, but on our terms. Not as a minor species begging for protection, as equals, as partners who can defend themselves and their allies. The Requiem was a message. Earth is not weak. Earth will not be threatened. And Earth will honor its commitments to those who honor their commitments to us. The chamber erupted. Questions, protests, arguments. Torvin stood silent in the center of it all. The message was delivered. Now the galaxy had to decide how to respond. Admiral Myung-ho stood in front of the holographic projector and waited for the connection to stabilize. He was on Earth in a command center that officially did not exist, about to address the Galactic Council for the first time in his career. The first time any human military commander had done so, he was not nervous. He spent 40 years preparing for this moment. The hologram activated. Suddenly, he was standing in the council chambers. Hundreds of representatives from dozens of species looked at him, some with curiosity, some with fear, some with barely hidden anger. I am Admiral Myung-ho, Supreme Commander of Earth Defense Forces, he said. His voice was calm, strong. Thank you for allowing me to address this council. Admiral, the Thalen counselor spoke. Your presence confirms what we suspected. Earth has a significant military structure, hidden from the galaxy. How extensive is it? Extensive enough, Myung-ho replied. Earth Defense Forces consist of multiple fleets, defensive installations, and support infrastructure sufficient to protect human interests throughout our territory and beyond. That is not an answer, a Mordex representative said. It is the only answer you will receive, Myung-ho said. Earth does not discuss specific military capabilities, just as your governments do not share complete fleet compositions or weapon specifications. We expect the same discretion we extend to others. You deceived us, another voice called out. Myung-ho turned toward the speaker. Did we? Or did you make assumptions based on incomplete observation? Earth never claimed to be defenseless. We simply did not advertise our full capabilities. That is prudence, not deception. Why? The Thalen counselor asked. Why hide this for so long? Myung-ho had prepared for this question, had practiced the answer. But now, standing before the assembled representatives of galactic civilization, he decided to give them the raw truth instead. Because we were terrified, he said. Silence fell over the chamber. 50 years ago, humanity made first contact with the Quilnar. They were friendly, helpful. They taught us about the galaxy, about the thousands of species, the ancient civilizations, the vast technologies, and we realized something. We were nothing. Primitives who just discovered faster than light travel while others had been using it for millennia. Myung-ho paused. Let that sink in. We looked at history, at how new species were treated. Some were welcomed. Some were exploited. Some were conquered. Some simply disappeared. The pattern was clear. Weak species had no rights. No protection, no future. Only strong species survived. So humanity had a choice. We could announce our presence fully, ask for help, accept whatever terms more powerful species offered. Maybe we would be lucky. Maybe we would find generous benefactors. Or maybe we would become servants, colonies, resources to be used. Or we could do something else, something difficult. We could appear harmless, cooperative, limited, while secretly building strength, building power, building the capability to defend ourselves so we would never need to beg for protection. We chose the second path, and yes, it required deception, required patience, required sacrifice. For 50 years, Earth operated a dual program. The face we showed the galaxy was real. Those trade ships exist. Those research vessels are genuine. Those diplomatic missions were honest. But they were not everything. They were never everything. A Quilnar representative stood. Myung-ho recognized her. Ambassador Thessa. She had been one of the first aliens to visit Earth. Admiral Myung-ho, the Quilnar welcomed humanity openly. We shared knowledge freely. We helped you integrate into galactic society, and you repaid that trust with lies. Myung-ho met her eyes. Ambassador Thessa, the Quilnar were kind to us. Generous, we have not forgotten that. But kindness does not guarantee safety. The galaxy is vast, full of species with different values, different goals. The Quilnar could not protect us from everyone. No one could. So we protected ourselves. By building weapons in secret, by building the capability to ensure our survival, Myung-ho corrected. Ambassador, you are angry because you feel betrayed. I understand. But ask yourself honestly, if humanity had arrived 50 years ago and announced we were building a powerful military, what would have happened? Thessa was silent. The council would have debated. Myung-ho continued. Some would have supported us. Others would have demanded restrictions, treaties limiting our military growth, inspections, controls, and if we refused, sanctions, isolation, perhaps military intervention to ensure compliance. You know this is true. Thessa sat down slowly. Earth refused to accept that future, Myung-ho said. We refused to put our survival in the hands of others. So we smiled, we traded. We made friends, and we built. We built in secret. We built in silence. We built until we had the strength to stand as equals. And now you reveal this strength by destroying an entire fleet, the Thalen counselor said. That is intimidation, Admiral. That is demonstration, Myung-ho replied. The Vrex attacked our allies. They threatened millions of civilians. They needed to be stopped. We stopped them, completely, decisively, and yes, we made sure everyone saw it, because the galaxy needed to understand something. Understand what? That Earth is not a minor species anymore. That we can defend ourselves. That we will defend our allies. That we have the power to back up our commitments. The Requiem was not a threat. It was a statement. Earth exists on our own terms now. What terms are those? The Thalan counselor asked. Myung-ho took a breath. This was the moment. The declaration he came here to make. Earth will honor all existing treaties and agreements. We will continue trade, continue diplomatic relations, continue cultural exchanges. We want peace. We want cooperation. But we will no longer accept a subordinate position. We will not bow to stronger powers. We will not accept restrictions on our security. We will not allow others to dictate our defense policy. We are willing to work with the galactic community as partners, as allies, but never again as the weak species hoping for protection. That era is over, and if we refuse these terms, a Mordex representative asked. Myung-ho's expression hardened. Then Earth will act independently. We will defend our interests with or without council approval. We prefer cooperation. But we will not sacrifice our security for acceptance. That is arrogance, someone shouted. That is reality, Myung-ho said. Earth has the capability to enforce our position. We did not seek this. We did not want to reveal our strength. But circumstances forced our hand. The Vrex attack, the threat to our allies. We could have stayed hidden, let the Kryn die, maintained our secret. But that is not who we are. We value our friendships. We honor our commitments, so we acted. And in acting, we revealed ourselves. Now the galaxy must adjust to what we truly are, not helpless newcomers. Not minor species to be patronized. We are humans. We are patient. We are strategic. And we are powerful. The chamber erupted in arguments, debates, accusations. Myung-ho stood silent in the center of the hologram and let them rage. He delivered the message, made Earth's position clear. What happened next was up to them, but he knew the truth. The galaxy had already changed. The moment the Requiem fired its weapons, the old order died. A new balance was forming, one where humanity did not ask for permission, did not beg for acceptance, did not hide their strength. Earth built their own table. Now they were deciding who could sit at it.